Hello and welcome. In this short video, I'll present a demonstration of the portfolio analysis feature that is part of Microsoft's portfolio and project management solution. In terms of process, the analysis that we are about to perform is part of the selection phase. If we look at the project lifecycle illustration here, the selection phase is after the initiation of an idea or a business case, but before the planning phase of an authorized project. In essence, the objective of the selection phase is to try and select the right projects that will comprise the new projects within a portfolio. What comes after the selection phase focuses on doing the project right. The selection phase is about making the determination on which initiatives the organization will invest in and authorize in order to begin putting the necessary plans in place that will enable their organization to realize its strategic objectives in an optimal fashion. The manner in which we will approach this demonstration is as follows. First, we will look at and discuss business drivers, then discuss the driver prioritizations, and then defining project dependencies. These elements are all parameters that will be leveraged by our models. We will look at adjusting project priorities on the fly and performing a what-if analysis, first by looking at a primary constraint such as total cost, or whatever measure an organization is interested in, example, return on investment, net present value, etc., in order to weigh the proposed project selection, and then to proceed to evaluate the resource requirements if desired. We are currently in the Project Center view, where we can see the projects and initiatives grouped by phase. And in the expanded portion of the view, we can see the initiatives that have reached the selection phase. These are the initiatives that are prime candidates for a portfolio analysis. We will proceed to navigate to the portfolio analysis section now by clicking the strategy link on the quick launch menu. Doing so displays a list of business drivers that have been set up here in this table. For instance, expanding into new markets and segments, improve customer satisfaction score, and improve employee satisfaction, etc. These business drivers are made available to those initiating ideas or business cases as part of the initiation phase to score them against a predetermined set of these drivers. This set of business drivers that an initiative or business case is evaluated against is based on the type of initiative or business case it is, and or department or organization that it is part of. But we digress. More on this in a future video on demand management. Next, here we see a list of driver prioritizations. We have the possibility to create and have multiple sets of business drivers and the respective prioritization that one can choose from when setting up a model to perform their what-ifs. In this environment, we see that there are 4 driver prioritizations that have been already created, one for the CIO, another for the CIO, and HR have their prioritizations defined. And there's even an executive consensus. In essence, what these so-called individuals or groups have done in this tool is to perform a pairwise comparison of business drivers. For our purpose, pairwise comparison is a method that will enable the prioritization of the initiatives based on the ranking of various business drivers. Even though pairwise comparison is available out of the box, so to speak, you're not forced to use it. As you will see later, you may use your own weighting system such as return on investment, net present value, or any other custom numerical ranking system you desire. Clicking here on portfolio analysis takes us to where it lists the existing models that we currently have set up. But before I go there, let's look at one more item that should be in place or considered before starting a model and performing what-ifs. We will go up here to the Analysis tab where its ribbon contains the Project Dependencies button. Clicking that will take us where we can review any such dependencies that have been created already or to create new ones. As we can see, there are 3 already set up, one of type dependency, which as the description indicates, if we do one helmet project, we must do the other for efficiency. Finish to start, which has been described here as if we do the ERP project, the payroll system upgrade must follow. The payroll system project can only start after we finish the ERP upgrade project. And the mutual inclusion type. described here as needed to run the optimization scenario. I will go ahead now and create a new mutual exclusion type. I'll enter a name for it here, and I will call it Mutual Exclusion CRM. I will enter a description. We need only to select one CRM initiative. I will select the 3 CRM initiatives, and I will click Save. It's as simple as that to create a project dependency type for use in our modeling. There are 2 models that I have already created in the system. The first one here in the list is named Portfolio Analysis Spiro's What If Scenario 1. The second one is titled Fiscal Year 2015-2016 6-Month Authorization. This one has been set up for the Sales and Marketing Department. This demonstrates that we can set up a model to serve any part of an organization. I will now walk you through and show you what I have done to set this up, and we will perform the what if scenarios. I will click and expand to reveal the scenarios I've created. Apart from the baseline, which is our default scenario, I have created a scenario where I have set the cost constraint to 15 million and named it as such. Within the specific scenario of 15 million, I have performed 3 what if scenarios with regards to resources. That is, hiring 1 internal resource, 1.44 external resources, or 2 internal resources. Let's proceed now and take a look at the setup of this model by clicking its name from our list. We can see the name field and the name of our model. Further down, we see that the executive consensus has been selected in this model from among the other 3 driver prioritizations that we discussed a moment ago. Further down, we can see the initiatives that have been selected for analysis. In this window, we can quickly find and filter initiatives that are candidates for portfolio selection. As such, we can quickly identify and select the initiatives to be included. The Resilient Pothole Compound initiative, along with 2 others, were not selected for this model. It's perhaps that they were initiated and approved and moved into the select phase after this model was created. Scroll down a bit to the analysis primary cost constraint. We can see that the total cost has been set. Other possibilities such as total benefits, return on investment, etc. are also options that can be used in establishing the primary item that will be used to rank our selection, as we will see shortly. If the Analyze Project Resource Requirements against Resource Capacity is selected, then the following parameters will display. That is, establishing a planning horizon, choosing the level of granularity with respect to the planning horizon, and in this case we have set calendar quarters. Further down, we have indicated that the position role is the custom field to be used for matching up generic and named resources. And if we wish, we can segment our analysis with regards to resources by using the filtering options. And finally, do we wish to include soft bookings? That is, those that are marked as proposed with respect to their booking type in these proposed initiatives. I typically like the second option when I do my analysis. Either from the bottom right here or from the ribbon, we can go to the next step, which is prioritize projects. And now we're presented here with a list of our selected initiatives displayed by row. Each of the columns to the right of the names of our initiatives are the score that have been given with respect to the business driver during the initiation phase. If we so choose, we can override and or change the score for any of these for the sake of our analysis. Notice the CFO campaign had no rating, so just to demonstrate, I will go ahead and set a ranking for the first 3 business drivers. To proceed, I will now click Review Priorities. Here the e-commerce portal development initiative has ranked highest of all other initiatives included in a model. Scrolling down, we can see that they are listed here in a descending order of priority. We proceed now to the Analyze Cost section, where we can begin our what if analysis. We are currently looking at the baseline scenario, which tells us that we have a total cost of $22,175,212 worth of potential projects. Notice the table on the right lists our proposed initiatives in terms of priorities we saw a few moments ago under Review Priorities. There are 31 potential projects that can be undertaken or selected, provided that we have the necessary budget that it takes and is indicated. If we do, then we are able to attain 100% of the strategic value that our selected projects offer. If, however, we only have 20 million, then we can enter this constraint here and click the Recalculate button to show that the 3 proposed projects have fallen out of the Selected Projects group and into the Unselected Projects section. We also see that cells in the Moved In Out column for those projects have been highlighted in a red background. The strategic value attained with 20 million will be 97.49 instead of the 100% we had before. There's a couple of things that we can note here. The efficiency frontier plots the current what-if scenarios, total cost, and strategic value graphically. We also notice that the total cost for the unselected project is about 2.4 million, which brings our selected projects to within our 20 million cost constraint that we specified. If we wish, we can force proposed projects in or out from either group, selected or unselected. Here, I'm going to demonstrate setting the unselected project named Apparel ERP Upgrade to force in. By recalculating, the unselected project will be made part of the selected group. However, in order to respect the cost constraint of 20 million for this what-if scenario, it will cause the Content Filtering Design and Implementation Initiative to be forced out of the selected group and made part of the unselected projects due to it being lowest on the priority relative to the others in the selected group. If we so choose, I can demonstrate how to save this particular scenario by going up to the ribbon, clicking Save As, and providing a name in the field title Portfolio Selection Scenario Name, and then clicking OK. We also have the option to display the strategic alignment, which is displayed as a histogram. The light blue represents the driver's importance in terms of percentage, and the dark blue how the selected groups stack up relative to each driver. Note that the cumulative for driver importance will total 100%. If we switch to the 15 million what-if scenario, you'll notice the change in the strategic alignment graph. There will be a small decrease in some of the dark blue bars when we do this. Before we proceed to performing the resource what-if scenario, there is the scatter chart that I would like to show you that is available here. The strategic value is plotted on the vertical axis and the cost on the horizontal one. Each proposed project is plotted accordingly and color-coded to match this legend. Let's go back to the grid and collapse the selected projects to display those that are unselected in the $15 million what-if scenario. Note, there are 9 unselected and 22 projects selected in this scenario with a strategic value of 85.44%. That's pretty good when we are limiting our total cost by approximately 32% from our initial 22.4 million down now to 15 million. Now let's proceed to the Analyze Resource section, which is the next button in the sequence. This takes us to a page that contains a Gantt chart, and it's currently set to the default scenario. If we look at how many projects are selected, there are only 17 instead of 22 with a strategic value of 70.26. And if we scroll down, we will see that 5 of the previously selected projects within our cost analysis have dropped into the not selected section. Why is that? Well, you may have the budget to execute projects, but as is the case in this demo environment, the resources are just not available in a timely fashion. We can change the start date of proposed projects and manage that way. By looking at the Gantt chart, I can easily identify where to start projects to alleviate some of these resource constraints. I'll go ahead then and change the start date of the audit tracking solution from April 2015 to January 2016, and then click Recalculate. Now notice how it got moved in alongside the selected group, which now takes it to 18 projects selected versus 17 we had before, with a strategic value of 74.4. I'm going to go ahead and save the scenario and call it Change Date of Audit Tracking Solution. Here's the latest scenario now alongside the other resource what-if scenarios. Notice how they compare graphically in our scenario chart. Let's switch back the scenario to baseline. And navigate to the requirements details. This shows us what the resource availability is and the project requirements we have in terms of roles. One of the deficiencies in terms of roles I have in this scenario happens to be with the trainer. I've gone ahead and filtered the trainer to isolate and display his resource availability and project requirements. Notice the resource availability for the trainer is one full-time equivalent for January, April, and July. These are calendar quarters that we had specified in the parameters that we used in setting up this model earlier in this video. In October, we see the resource availability highlighted in red. This is because they are proposed projects starting in the October timeframe that call for the trainer resource, but unfortunately, they're not enough to go around. The Dynamic CRM Deployment Initiative requires 0.38 of a trainer resource, thus leaving 0.62 available or remaining, given that we only have one trainer. Those projects are shown in the Not Selected section, call for 1.09 trainer resources in the month of October. One way to get around these constraints, as I showed you before, is to change the start date of the initiatives. Allow me now to navigate back to the Gantt chart and look at hiring resources as part of my what-if analysis. I've done some of this what-if analysis before, and I saved those scenarios. I looked at hiring one resource. I did this by entering the number 1 in the hired resource field. Notice the additional resources in terms of work, project selected, and strategic value change when I make the change. Allow me to take you to the reports section where I will select the hired resource report. Here you will see that by adding one resource, the system determines that it would be best that I hire a trainer that will work on the Audit Tracking Solutions initiative starting in October 2015. In this demo environment, I have not set up my resource profiles with standard or overtime rates. Therefore, the cost field displays a 0. However, the work field shows me that there's 3,136 hours of work for this type of person on this project. Let's return to the Gantt chart once more in order to see what happens when we select two resources. Again, note the changes to the additional resource work, project selected, and strategic value fields. Once again, let's go to the Reports button and select the Hired Resource Report. Notice here that there's a second row with the trainer as a role. And now the Health Assessment Reporting tool being secured with this resource with a new start date of October 2013 and a work effort totaling 7,312 hours, allowing us to potentially secure 19 projects and achieve 78.08% of the total strategic value. One last time, back to the Gantt chart where we enter 1.44 external hires. And note, when we use external hires, we can specify a number such as this because it is an external resource that we can contract out in varying units. Internal or external is specified by going up here in the Options tab and selecting from the Type dropdown. Now, if we return to the Hired Resource Report, notice that we can achieve 20 selected projects and 81.14% strategic value with an additional resource work value of 846.2 hours in total. The required hours are shown at the far end of our table by project and by calendar quarter. It would seem that hiring external consultants could be the way to go, However, as I said before, we have not set up our resources in this demo environment with rates, so it would be helpful to have done so, but I think you get the picture here. With these resource what-if scenarios, I can compare them side by side by clicking the Compare button on the ribbon. The following window displays my various resource what-if scenarios, which are listed with their associated metrics, and if we scroll down, we can see for each of our scenarios the proposed projects listed in order of priority, which ones have been selected, and which ones have not for each scenario. Given the analysis we walked through and the metrics generated, we are in a better position now to make the determination on which initiatives the organization should invest in. Again, by navigating to the Gantt chart, we can click the Commit button, which will timestamp our initiatives in our model and our selection, and even trigger any workflows that may be enabled. Well, I hope you enjoyed this presentation. If you wish to contact me about this or any other related matter, feel free to do so. Thank you for watching, and until next time.